Welcome to the Elegance Of Nae podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and on this podcast, we talk about a variety of topics with amazing stories. Let's get into it, shall we? Hey guys, before we start the show, we want to give our love and support to Grind and Hustle Youth. They are a mentoring program that help ages 15 and older with business etiquette skills, in addition to offering a variety of classes from coding class, culinary, CPR, podcasting, and so much more. They also have a variety of courses that you can join as well, dedicated to mothers, fathers, elegant ladies, and raising gents. Check it out today at grindandhustleYouth.square.site. All right, let's start the show. Welcome back to the Elegance Of Nae podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and we have someone new in the building today. We have the one and only Mr. Walker in the building. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you mentally and physically?
Mentally and physically?
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, I'm great. Physically, I'm great. I think I'm feeling good today.
Okay. How has the new year been treating you?
Busy.
Busy?
Crazy busy. Yeah, but it's a good thing. It's a good
That's
thing.
good.
2024 is going to be a great year
Absolutely.
for all of us.
Yes, I feel that as well. So let's start. Are you a Detroit native?
Born and raised.
All right. From what side of town?
Part of my life on the west side, the other part on the east side.
Okay, so a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
All right now.
Right.
So how was it for you growing up? Were you more of a social butterfly, or were you more to yourself?
I think I've always been kind of, the life of the party or whatever, and just a little bit more extroverted. But I'm always, I'm always fun. So yeah, so I wouldn't say introverted at all.
Mm-hmm. How were you in high school?
High school, oh man.
And what high school did you go to?
High school, I actually went to two different high schools.
Mm-hmm.
Freshman and sophomore year with the St. Martin de Porres.
Okay.
And then my dad moved the family to Auburn Hills. So my junior and senior year was in Auburn Hills, Avondale.
Okay. So how were you in high school though? Like,
outgoing.
Okay.
Yeah, outgoing. I'm always, friendly. I don't think I'm. No, I'm not. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm never introverted.
Okay. Did you do any after school activities? Were you intertwined with any?
Just sports. Just sports and drama and but pretty much just sports.
Okay. Did any of them carry into college or?
Yeah, went to college to play basketball. Went to junior college, played basketball, and then I went to a 4-year school to play basketball.
Oh, nice. What colleges did you go to?
They don't even exist. Well, I'll take that back. My junior college, it transitioned into a 4-year college.
Okay.
And so the junior college doesn't exist, but the college today is called Rochester College.
Okay.
Right. And then my 4-year college is Concordia out of Ann Arbor.
Nice.
Yeah. I went to Catholic school, Christian schools probably all my life.
Okay. What was your major?
Business administration.
Nice. What made you go towards or leaning towards that?
Lead to a business?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah. I'll tell you the story. My mother told me. She would say, Jason, as long as I can remember, since you were a little kid, you always said you were going to own your own business. Nice. So I guess it just
stuck with you.
That's what, yeah. I was, and I was like, well, how old was I? She was like, Jason, I can remember you saying that at like 4 or 5 years old. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Right.
And it's been stuck with you ever since then.
Yes. And I can tell because I look at everything from a business lens, right? And it's crazy because people go, stop. Just like I look at commercials differently than most people. So, yeah.
And what motivated you to have that mindset or be in that? What inspired you to
go into business?
Yeah.
What inspired me to go into business? I think just what inspired me to go into business? I think just the I'm a problem solver,
Mm.
right? And I worked in corporate America forever and probably hated every minute of it. And and when I started my first business. Gosh, I was a junior in college.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was a junior in college. So started my first business, didn't know anything. I
Mm.
was like, hey, I'm gonna start this business. And of course, it ended horribly.
Mm.
But it's I think I've always just been a problem solver, even even in just the freedom to think creatively and
Mm.
to be able to generate revenue. Right? I always got a saying, just like we were talking before we started, it's like, are you making money? Right? Because we're in
Mhm.
business to make money. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could, a lot of people say they want to solve the social ills of the world. I always tell them it's like open a business, make the money, then take the money to solve the social ills of the world.
Exactly. That makes sense.
Right.
So how has your mentorship through business been going for you? Like what do you feel like you teach the most out of being in the business mindset?
Mentoring other people.
Yes.
I think the thing that most entrepreneurs, whether you want to call them entrepreneurs or business owners, I think the most thing they need to realize is that one, it's a hard work. It's a lot of work to
Mhm.
to own your own business, start your own business. And number two is that they got to recognize that marketing, promotion, advertising, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
is critical to your business because if you're not making sales, your business is dying. I don't care what type of business it is. So, I got a saying that business is essentially three things: customers, marketing, and financials. You got
Mhm.
to know who your customer is, your ideal customer. Some people call it your target customer, your ideal customer. That's the person who's going to buy your. And I just had this added to my statement from a good friend of mine. The person that's going to buy your highest priced product repeatedly.
Mm.
So you got to know that because if you don't know that, your marketing is going to be all over everywhere.
Yeah,
And it's
stagnant.
not going to generate the return that you want. And
Mhm.
then the financials, you know, statistics show that, you can look it up on the internet, SBA, whatever, that most small businesses fail not because they don't have a good product or the good service, it's because they run out of money.
Mm.
Right? They've tapped out their, loans or whatever and find, and capital acquisition, and they run
Mhm.
out of money. As they say, you got more month than you got money. And so
Yeah.
you have to make a decision. You don't want to close and if you're tapped out as far as capital, getting access to capital, what are you going to do? You're going to
Yeah.
close. So there it
Yeah.
is.
That makes some complete sense.
Right.
So, have you ever had a moment where your mentoring and someone inspired you or encouraged you, or
Well,
have you thought in a particular way?
oh yeah. Because entrepreneurship is so exciting, and I'm always learning. You do a disservice to anyone. I don't care what age they are, or what stage they are in their life. You do a disservice to anyone if you think you can't learn from them.
Yeah.
I learn from my little nieces and nephews, right? Because I'll be like, oh, I didn't think about looking at it from that perspective,
Yeah.
right? Or looking at it from this angle. So someone can always teach you something because all of us have our own predefined set of biases, expectation, and experiences. So if someone will come along to teach you to look at it a little bit differently,
Hmm.
that's entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship is no set, like, okay, step one, step two, step three, step four. Entrepreneurship is step one. Oh, wait a minute. Step 0.1, step 2.1. Then we're coming back
Hmm.
to step one. Oh, we need to go over here to step three, and then come back to step two. So if you can't
Yeah.
learn, from anyone, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. I feel like for me, you can learn any day, any time, any way, because there's so
Yes.
many different ways we learn,
Yep.
rather visually, verbally, and then we can learn mentally, physically in a way too. So
Right.
it's so many different ways and aspects that we can tap into expanding our knowledge on things,
Exactly.
especially when we spend the time to do it, because time is already
That's the
a
key.
valuable thing. We spoke about that a while ago,
Right.
of how the most expensive thing is our time.
Right.
So of course we have to choose wisely and
Yep.
do things wisely. So
Right.
that's a key thing
And
too.
that's the key. And what entrepreneurs, business owners, or whatever. I don't care if you're in corporate America or whatever. The thing that you and everybody know this. This is not unknown saying. Your most precious commodity is time.
Mm.
We can't get back the 5 minutes we just talked. 5 minutes ago at the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah.
So we've got to make sure that we're, as they say, living life to the full. So you're maximizing and living life to the full for you any day could be just, hey, I'm sitting on the couch reading a book.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I agree
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. So what are like some key things that you take with you on the daily, of either personally or in a
Okay.
business aspect?
Every day, be open,
Mm.
be open. Personally, be open. Always listening, right? Because again, going back to what we just talked about, you can learn from. I learn from watching movies. I'll see some of the movie and go, yeah, I was just thinking about that, or I was just faced with that.
Mhm.
Okay, I got it. So always be open to listen and to hear and be receptive.
Mm.
Don't turn your ears off or your heart off or whatever you want to call it to anything.
Mhm.
And then business wise, you got to be adaptable. You got to be
Yeah.
agile because there's I had a buddy, just a quick conversation with a buddy of mine. He was like, and we were talking about business plans, and
Mhm.
he was like, and this guy, super successful, multi-franchise owner and things like that. He's like, Jason, I don't do business plans, and I was like, what? I was
Mm.
like, blasphemy, right? Like, you don't do business plans? He's like, Jason, think about it. Okay, disclaimer, I'm not discouraging people to do their business plan. Do your business plan. This is
Right.
just him. This is
Yeah.
just his perspective, right? So he was saying, Jason, because where I'm at now, by the time I finish my business plan, the
Mhm.
market has changed.
That's true.
Well, what I thought when I started writing it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or 2 weeks ago, now is different. So I got to respond and react. He's like, so, and I get it from where he's at because he's a little bit further down the entrepreneurial journey than most.
Yeah.
So, but you got to have a plan of some sort.
Yeah.
Right, you got to have a plan, whether it's a launch plan or whether
Yeah.
it's an executive business plan. You got to have something to guide your path, because if not, when the chaos or the things that invariably happen in life happen, you
Mhm.
can have a foundation so that, one, you can respond to it, and two, not get so far off
Yeah.
to where you're like, we started making boots, but now we're over here making widgets or whatever. You're
Right.
so far off the original vision. So yeah, you got to have a plan. And I would say, if your plan is not flexible, you really need to look at the market. You really
Yeah.
got, because who knew what is 2024, 2022, nobody heard of artificial intelligence.
That's the craziest thing ever.
Right. So 2022, nobody was talking about artificial intelligence. Now artificial intelligence is on everything, every sort of market
Mhm.
has changed.
Yeah.
So, and if you're like, I'm going to go down this business plan, no,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
I feel like with a lot of us, because we all, like we said before, learn differently. We all adapt differently to
Hmm.
different environments that we in. We take different criticism differently, and we have to take criticism. Businesses gotta be able to accept that,
Yes.
even if it's not about business. If you're
Right.
taking information or taking criticism about yourself personally, sometimes we need to hear that. Because
Yes.
if we can't hear the truth or the raw impact or a blunt reaction, how can we grow and adapt to when we get into an environment that's way worse than what this person just said?
Right. Right.
So
Right. And you got it. You can't take yourself too seriously.
yeah,
And I'll borrow a line from the greatest movie ever, The Godfather. It's not personal. It's just business.
yeah,
We're trying. If you're taking yourself too seriously in business, or if anything, like you said, to your point, You can't receive any criticism or anything that will make you better
Yeah.
than you were just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I learned myself last year to separate your emotions from the customer.
Oh yeah.
Do not put
Yes.
that energy into the sale, into the work with them,
Right.
because if something doesn't go your way or their way, you can't take that personal. It's,
Right.
you got to think of it, okay, this is business. If they
Right.
don't, you got to reciprocate that. You got to
Mm-hmm.
communicate that.
Right.
So if you can't separate your emotions
Right.
from that customer, you're going to have a hard time.
But I would say you need to separate. I would say it's not necessarily separate your emotions.
Mm.
You need to manage your reactions because your customer needs to see your
Mm.
emotions, that you're vested, that you're interested, that you're excited, or
Yeah.
that something's not quite going with
Yeah.
right with the deal. But if their customer is calling you every name under the sun, your reaction still has to be, okay, I understand your concerns. So
Mm-hmm.
it's to manage your reaction, not
Yeah.
necessarily manage your
The most,
emotions.
yeah. I mean, yeah. To be more specific, that in
Well,
particular, yes.
yep,
That's
yep.
what I had to learn last year, is separating that, or really just like you said, the reaction of it. Because I had to, dealt with a few customers that were just like, okay, you're a bit much, but I
Yeah,
still got to, react professionally to you.
exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah, we all
Because
definitely
you could
learn in
be
different ways.
on fire on the
Oh my
inside, but
goodness,
your
yes.
reaction is like, okay, I understand what you're
Right, you
saying.
have to be
We'll try to
calm.
do better.
You have to be calm,
Right,
collected, and
great,
still
right.
carry your business
Exactly,
professionally. So,
exactly.
yes, absolutely. Hey guys, it's shout out break time. We want to give our love and support to the one and only Mr. Walker with his company called RACE. RACE stands for Reaching Across Communities with Economics. The RACE community is a place to serve entrepreneurs and small businesses by providing resources needed to accelerate their growth. If you would love to find out more or you need the extra assistance, check out his website at www.racecon.com. That is www.raceecon.com. All right, back to the show. So, what made you want to come on this podcast to tell your story?
What made me want to come on this podcast? I guess I'm all about supporting people and helping people grow their brand or their business or whatever. And I've been in the game a long time. I call entrepreneurship a game.
Mhm.
I've been in the game. I opened my first business in 1989,
Oh, wow.
90, right? So probably way before you were born, right? So, and I'm just, and if I can help someone, further their business, or they could get a tidbit or a nugget from this podcast, hey, it was worth it.
I
It was
love
worth
it.
it.
I thank you and I appreciate that.
Yes.
So, what from the past few years versus when you started, what have you seen that was a drastic change with either yourself or your business?
Myself or my business. I would say it would be myself. It would be experience.
Mm.
It would be experience. I was just reading an article today and about business, of course, and the guy was talking about, I guess he's a PhD at Duke or some Ivy League school like that, and he was
Mm.
saying that you know one of the keys to entrepreneurial success is experience.
Mm.
And that resonates with me because I remember when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, and I made every mistake you can make. Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, oh man, I mean, I wish I had $1 for every dollar I lost for the
Right.
mistakes I made, and I
Right.
would be on the island somewhere relaxing. But it's experience and being able to use that experience not to make the same mistakes that I make now. So I guess the change is me. And
Mm.
then, just to broaden that question a little bit, as far as the industry, or any industry, it's just a technology.
Yeah,
Technology has changed the
absolutely.
way we do business drastically.
Mm.
I like I said, I'm telling my age here, but I remember there weren't computers in the office building,
Yeah.
right? And so now your phone is more powerful than any computer. When I first started using a computer, so
Mm-hmm.
technology
That's yeah.
has changed the game immensely. But personally, even if you're just starting out and you're not quite sure as an entrepreneur, you're not quite sure, what you want to do or what you or kind of what industry or whatever you want to get into, go try some things.
Yeah.
Go to start. I don't care if you just start a ice cream stand so
Yeah.
that you can get the rhythm and flow of doing business,
Yeah.
and then take that experience and apply it to your next business, and then take that experience and apply it to your next business, so that when you're going and growing, you won't make the same mistakes over and over
That's crazy because I always say to anyone I speak to, either personally or business, I
again.
say keep growing and glowing. I say that all the time
Hmm.
because it's a good segment of you have to
You're
grow to be able, and you have to learn
right,
from your past self,
right,
your past mistakes. And if you haven't learned, you're clearly gonna
right,
have to keep bumping your head till you get it, till it gets
right.
through to you like, okay,
You're
this isn't working.
Actually, the funny thing about that is, because most entrepreneurs in the technology world, 'cause I got a technology background as well. In the technology world, they call that rapid prototyping,
Hmm.
right? They'll throw something out there, see what happens, see what type of customer feedback, see what the market says, and then come pull it back, update it
Yeah.
based on the feedback, throw it back out there. Because so what they're doing is they're learning from experience. They're
Yeah.
experiencing, like you say, the rhythm and flow of entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I would encourage anybody who's thinking, just start it. Just start it, do it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, don't go underwater, don't lose your house over it or whatever, but just start it. Start small.
Yeah, I definitely always say for anybody that starts off to start small,
Right,
think wisely, like
right,
think thoroughly of the
right,
plan before just going crazy or rapidly
right,
or making a major huge step like literally taking the mortgage money to
right,
do like
right.
just think about it, you know.
Don't buy the 1,000 books before you sell the 1,000 books.
Exactly. Like at
You're
least
like,
start with 100 or at least 50, see how it
right.
go.
I got 1,000 books in my garage. I was like, well, have you sold it? No, not
No, right.
yet.
Yeah, and then even though we have so many services and business that have the same mindset,
Hmm.
we all got to think of what can you do that's
Right,
different for this service that you're
right,
providing.
right,
Because even though yes I do art, yes I do content creation,
right,
but what am I doing differently that
right,
others are doing?
right.
What
What makes
can
you
I
unique?
exactly
What makes you
what
unique?
makes it to you?
Right,
What makes
right,
you be you?
right.
So yeah.
Because if you think about it, business, real to be successful in business, there's really only like 3 or 4 ways, right?
Mhm.
You got to offer to the market. We're talking. You got to. Here's a tip: if you're starting as an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
look at your business from the other side of the table. And what I mean by that is, you got to look at your business from your customer's eyes.
Yeah.
And what does the customer want? Do they want convenience? Right? Who do they? Are you taking something existing and improving upon it, or are
Mhm.
you coming with something just totally new, totally unique, or something like that? And because if not, how are you
How you
going to
gonna understand?
separate yourself from
Mhm.
everybody else?
Yeah, that's kind of like how I do with my podcast. I put myself in the shoes of the
Right.
guest.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I ask the questions that I
Right.
ask to make sure that the setting is comfortable.
Right.
Because I would want to know, like, if I'm sitting here, am I going to be comfortable if somebody asks
Right.
that, or if I'm going to be comfortable if if the the conversation is
Mm-hmm.
weird
Gets
or
crazy.
it gets crazy or wild. Even though this podcast you can be as transparent as you want,
Right.
but it's just understanding how it would be for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
to be in your shoes. So
Mm-hmm.
so now in the beginning you pulled out of our jar
Oh man, the
and
jar.
you pulled fatherhood. So what's the first thing that came
Fatherhood.
to mind when you think of fatherhood?
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of fatherhood, leadership. That's the first thing. Because I'm a father. Actually, I'm a grandfather. Wow, who knew? That's a whole nother discussion, right? I'm still wrapping my mind around that. But the father has to be the leader, right? He has to the person that has to lead the family,
Hmm.
you know, and and men, even sometimes I get it confused that we're supposed to be the lead, we're leading the family, but we got to remember we're there to serve the family,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's the wife, the kids, and thing, or whatever makes up your family.
Hmm.
We're there to serve them. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you, or everybody's going to. If there's a crisis, everybody's going to look to you,
Yeah.
right? So you're a leader, and I would say anything you've read, heard, or read a blog about or whatever about
Hmm.
servant leadership,
Hmm.
that's fatherhood,
Yeah.
right? To be that person that not only one everybody could count on, right? But and number two, that person that everybody can count on, right?
I understand that for
Right.
sure. So, as a father, what is something that you've implanted or made sure that you taught your children growing up
Mm.
that was important to you?
So that's important to me is I got a daughter, right?
Okay.
So man, I don't know if I can say this because it's crazy. You said be fully transparent. So I just put it delicately. I would I would say the most important thing I taught her was to be self-reliant,
Mm.
right? And to not give up your gift.
Okay.
That's it. To be self-reliant, to be able to stand strong, and to be able to take whatever life dishes out. Because life is crazy. You'll
Mm.
be up on the mountaintop one time and down in the valley the next day. To
Yeah.
be self-reliant and to not give up your gift, not to give up. Steve Harvey called it the cookie or whatever you want to call it, but to not give up your gift, until I'm old school, so until marriage, right?
Right.
Right, but not to give up your gift because guys, our trip. Maybe I'll come back and do a relationship podcast with you and tell
Hey,
you
look
and
out for
tell and
part
tell,
two,
and,
y'all.
and tell you how really guys think. I always tell people Steve Harvey lied to y'all.
Yeah, so we gotta look out for part two for sure for that,
Right, right,
guys, for sure. Because
right.
now that's for our subscribers. So if you want to know about a deeper dive on that, that's definitely come
There you
back
go.
for
Make sure
that.
you subscribe because I'm willing to
Absolutely.
come back and give you the straight. What'd you say? We want people to be transparent. You know me.
Yeah.
We've had conversations
Yeah.
before. I'm super fully transparent.
Yes, very blunt and honest.
But
Now, before we close, do you have any questions at all?
I mean, just it was great. It was great being here. I enjoyed myself, and the conversation was great. And no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Also, before we close as well, can you tell me more about your company? Tell them about your
Oh man, cause I'm an entrepreneur. I got multiple companies. Well, I tell you what, I'll tell you about this company I just started. It's only about a year old. It's
company.
called Reaching Across Communities with Economics.
Okay. Mm.
Acronym is RACE. And what we're doing, and we're still in the building stage. The website is out there, but it's got a coming soon page because we're doing exactly what I talked about. We're iterating, getting out of the market. We got out to the market a little bit,
Mhm.
saw what our expectations weren't quite what we thought they were, and things like that. But the whole point of it, I'm a big believer, is that everybody talks about they want to rebuild communities, rebuild Black Wall Street, rebuild this, that, and other.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer that the only way you rebuild communities is through entrepreneurship. Because
absolutely.
because if you look at any, we'll just take Dearborn, Michigan, right there, Dearborn, right 10 minutes from here, 15 minutes from here, their little, what they call their downtown, or they've got the little strip with all the little shops and things like
Mhm.
that. If you next time you go through there, take a close look. You'll see there might be one or two national chains, but all the rest of them are entrepreneurial owned, mom and pop, solopreneur stores, and that area is thriving.
Absolutely.
And so if we want to rebuild our neighborhoods, we want to rebuild where I grew up at over on 12th Street in Davidson. I mean, we've got to encourage entrepreneurship and make it easy for people to get into entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. I've definitely been seeing a lot of different areas in the neighborhoods where our city is trying to intertwine either markets or little storefronts just to revive the neighborhood so it doesn't feel like a certain way.
And we have to patronize and go to those places. We have to support them. We have to, as a community, I'm gonna get them a little soapbox for a second. As the Black community, we've got to support our Black-owned businesses and our small businesses in the community. And that's not to disparage any other community or race or ethnic group, right? But Black should support Black. Period.
Absolutely. I feel that. Do you have any closing statements?
Take the journey. If you're an entrepreneur, take the leap. If you fail, don't worry about it. Man, I failed so many times, it's not even funny. But all it takes is one success. That's all it takes. It takes one success. So if there's any nugget I will leave with you, know who your ideal customer is. Because if not, you're just wasting your marketing dollars. Period.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming in today.
It's great.
And for those that are listening, stay tuned for part 2. Be a subscriber to make sure you can
subscribe.
Subscribe. Subscribe to listen in for part 2. And if you are a Patreon member, look into that as well. Until next time, see you guys. It's a wrap. It was great seeing you. We're so happy you joined us for this episode. Can't wait to see you next time. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And check out our information down below in the description. See you till next time. Bye.